Welcome everybody to another Vibrant Music Teacher Chat. I am so delighted to be back with you again this Friday. We are talking today about my favorite piano teaching tool. So if you want to know what this guy is doing here, or why I have a pack of cards, or any of the other tricks and tips that I have to share with you about the stuff that I use inside my studio, as well as some tips for improving your studio website as we review one of our members' websites here on the channel and give them some tips for improving it, you are in the right spot. So let's get started. Welcome again, everyone. It is so great to be back with you again for another Vibrant Music Teacher Chat. If you are joining me live here, welcome. Please say hi. Lots of people chiming in already. Laurie says happy Friday, right back at you there. Eloise, good evening to you too. Good afternoon over here, and good morning to those of you over in the US and Canada. Ginny joining me from San Antonio. Ellen back again from Georgia. Good morning to Grace and Marissa and Ben and Anya. Oh my gosh, so many regulars here in the chat, as well as a few new names as well. Extra warm welcome to you there. So today we're talking about teaching tools. It's a bit of a fun one for a fun Friday. So I'm going to be sharing with you some stuff. Normally I have like a list of bullet points of what I want to share with you in the show. And today I just have a lineup of things all around me. So I'm going to reveal what this stuff is that is all around me. And we're also going to be reviewing a studio website. I was asked to review Brock Height's website, so we're going to take a look at that first and dive into any tweaks that he might like to make, and hopefully you'll learn a lot from that too. Because your studio website is one of the best tools you have at your disposal as a teacher, if you have one. So we're going to be diving into all that today, but I've got one more thing that we need to do, and that is to decide some upcoming topics. Some of my regulars will know that we have been doing these chats 3 times a week, and that's about to change from next week. The chats aren't going away. They've been a lot of fun, and they've been really popular with you guys and really good at bringing people together, which I love. So we're going to be continuing them, don't worry. But from next week, they're going to be on Wednesdays only. So this is our new time. Oh, that's not it. This one is. That's our new time. Wednesdays at 3 p.m. in Dublin time. That is 10 a.m. in New York, 7 a.m. I believe in LA, 10 p.m. in Perth. Okay, so that makes it late in Melbourne, Sydney, and even later in New Zealand. I think it's like 1 a.m. over there in Auckland. So if you want to join us every week, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Even if you want to watch the replay, that way YouTube knows that you want to actually see stuff from me. So make sure to subscribe to the Colourful Keys channel, and that way you get the notifications and you get the information about the replays as well. And while you're here, make sure to let YouTube know further that you do like this content by liking this video. Hit the like button. They need to know that you think this is good and that you're not just turning it on and then facing the other direction and turning the sound down to mute, right? They need to know that you actually enjoy the content so that they'll show you more of it. That's the way YouTube works, right? And if it looks like people don't like it, then they're not going to show it to anyone. So always when you get here, make sure you hit the like button. I really appreciate you doing that. Now, Mary, thank you. Mary said, I loved your chat about introducing new pieces. That's great. I thought that was a really good one. Really productive session, I think, on Wednesday. So people who missed that one, go back and check out the replay. Definitely a fun one. One last bit of housekeeping for today, guys, which is that the coupon code for the 1-week trial to Vibrant Music Teaching membership that we've been offering, some of you will be sick about hearing about it because we've been offering it for several months, but we wanted to give people access who needed it during the lockdown. We are ending that today. It's expiring today. If you haven't jumped on it, you're not a member, and you've been thinking about signing up, right now is the time to do it if you're watching this live. So that is the coupon code that you can use. The site is vibrantmusicteaching.com. That's where we keep all our best stuff, and that's where all the best teachers hang out, including many of the people who are live today. Lots of members watching right now. Okay, so we're going to review that website that I talked about, and it is from Brockite. And I haven't got the website prepared here, but I believe it was just brockite.com. Yes. Okay, so as you see, I haven't even opened it, so I have never seen this website before. Websites are one of the best tools that you have at your disposal as a teacher in order to attract new students, retain current students possibly, and just put the message out there about your studio. So we're going to be diving into these bits and pieces after this. We're going to do this first because I truly believe websites are one of the best tools that you have. And I also wanted to let you know that inside Vibrant Music Teaching, for members who are watching, in the video library, we now have a full tutorial to help you set up a WordPress website. That's a self-hosted WordPress site, meaning you own it, using the great hosting provider SiteGround. You don't have to use them, but that's what the tutorial is based on because I know and trust them. So we have that tutorial in the video library. If you don't have a website and you're interested in setting one up that will stand the test of time, that is hosted by you, meaning you own everything about it, and you can move it if you want to, and you can set the domain name and do all that stuff, we have that full tutorial for you. It is not technical, it's just about going slow, pausing the video, doing the step that I just did, going back, and I'll help you set it up from start to finish. So not just the technical stuff, but making it look right and how to write your content for your website, all of that stuff. So the workshop is just 45 minutes. It shouldn't take you more than, I'd say, a couple of hours to actually get it set up in a basic way and up and running. If you're like pausing the video and going back and forth, 2 hours, you'll have it done and it'll be fantastic for your studio. So Brock has already been through all of that. So let me show you his site. As I said, I haven't even touched it. That is the wrong screen. Hang on. No. Okay. Interesting. That's it. I don't know how that got set back, but anyway, here we are. Oh, I know. Anyway, here's Brock's site. So I haven't looked at this at all. I only know Brock from him being a member, and a wonderful one at that. So I'm just diving into this for a first time. So I love the vibe of this. I think it looks really professional and clean and simple for the most part. And the vibe that it's giving me straight off the bat is that he teaches primarily classical, sort of, traditional isn't the right word, but yeah, like a classical approach is what I'm thinking he offers. So I always like to check in these website reviews if things are aligned, and you can let me know what you think about the site as we go through and any of the things I'm saying, and if you disagree with me, I'm open to interpretation here. But yeah, I like to diagnose the vibe first and see if that's right. So I think it looks like he teaches quite classical lessons in a modern and up-to-date way. I like this up the top, pianist and organist, and the menu. The image, the piano is a bit scuffed, but maybe that kind of adds a nice grittiness. I'm not sure, but I think it fits in quite well with the design. However, we have a problem. I know Brock isn't live here, I don't think, but when you watch this, Brock, I don't know where to go next. What would you guys click on next? Let's do a little bit of, not even troubleshooting, but just diagnosing here. What would you click on? If you were viewing this site, pretend you're a piano parent, where'd you click next? Would you scroll? Would you click on one of those menu items? What's your choice? Tell me in the chat. I think that'll be really useful for Brock to see, because I have a lot of choices. Janelle says I would click on teaching. Okay, interesting. I don't think I would do that. Maybe I would. I might have gone to the blog. I could have seen about his performances. I think I would have scrolled. You guys are saying teaching generally, but it's not a clear cut. Yeah, Eloise says about. Right. So it's not a clear cut decision. And that's what you need. You need a big button. Where do you want me to go next? You decide. And then I can click on the other stuff if I feel like it. I'm not saying take away the menu items for people who want the choice, but there should be a big button telling me where to go. Learn more about my approach. Or contact me to organize a free trial lesson. I'm not saying you have to offer a free trial lesson. That's just an example. Something for me to do. Right now, what I am going to do is scroll. Teaching and performing. This is about what you do. There's your button. Okay, you need to put this up the top. If that's my next step, and I'm assuming it's probably what you want me to do, put it up the top. Okay, then we have some great performances. Okay, that's good, but you're sending me away from my site. I love that you have the performances, Brock, but what I want you to do is embed it. There's no reason to send me to your Facebook page if I'm already on your website. I don't think that's beneficial. I think it should be embedded here. So if you take that down and upload it to YouTube and just pop a YouTube link in there, it'll automatically embed. More about Brock. Okay, and this is a blog post. Yeah. I might use the word blog there just so that people are really clear on what they're doing, right? Because I don't know what a monthly practice corner is if I'm a piano parent or potential one. I love that title. Great. Okay, recent post down there. I think that's fine. Then if I do go to teaching, that's what more people said. I think quite a few said about. Sharon, that's a great message. These links seem more focused on a performer rather than a teacher, which is perfect if you want to perform more than teach. Aha. I think they're about equal, but I agree with you, Sharon. So if the approach is about equal, Brock, which I think it is, you're a pretty active performer. So if that's the case, great. And you definitely want to push people in both directions. However, if your site is meant to mostly market piano lessons, I believe your focus could be more leaning that way, like Sharon mentioned. Okay, then we have teaching testimonials. Okay, here's a little website problem for you. Try to avoid these. See the way you have a menu and then a sub menu? Quite often, I'm not trying this on mobile. I won't do it now, but try it on mobile. See if that is awkward to use, because it's quite likely to be. It's even a little bit awkward on desktop, like it is holding, but it's very easy to, I didn't click on the right one, and then, right? I'm pretending to be a little bit less tech savvy than I am, but yeah, that can be a little bit awkward to use. Okay, about your teaching then. These are a little bit teachery worded. Isn't that beautiful grammar? But they are generally the way you're wording them. So I think my first impression is actually holding true. I think that's what's happening. You're talking a lot about talent versus hard work. You're teaching philosophy and stuff. So you're looking for quite serious parents. If any of this is wrong, you need to adjust. But if it's not, you're right on the money. You're looking for quite serious parents who want to take this commitment very seriously and are committed to helping their child to practice every day, for example, and being really quite involved. If that's what you're looking for and you believe there's a market for that, I think that's great. I like that writing style there. Great. Okay. So I hope this is giving you a good idea, Brock. We'll just look at the contact page lastly to get a sense of that. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, I believe this would be a little bit confusing to me. Okay, you could have this page still exist, Brock, and also put it here. Like, you could have it there just in case. Maybe that, yeah, maybe you don't want to do a fancy form with the logic and stuff, but yeah, I would just maybe rethink that in terms of making people click over there. At least I would put a button as well to make it a little bit clearer where they need to go. Also, we could have a bigger picture of you at a piano. That would be great. Or an organ. That would be great. Because it looks more like a business card now. And I think it could be a little bit more. But yeah, looking good. Well done on all the work so far. I hope this has been useful for you. And that it gave all of you watching live some tips as well. And that you're enjoying this so far. This exploration of tools. Starting with a website. And now we're going to explore some physical tools. Some stuff. Are we ready for that? Okay. First one. What do you think it's going to be? Have a guess. See if you get it right before I get there. What do you think the first one's going to be? What's my first tool? I think you can guess this one. Oh, there's several guesses you might guess. Just checking in with the comments before I show you that first tool. Let me know if you have a guess. Janelle said a big balance of text over photos. That's a good tip for Brock. Absolutely. I think more photos would be good throughout. MJ said piano. I told you that they were on my desk. I don't have a piano on my desk, but good option. Yes, a few of you have... Jay, I would not say that. I mean, I hope that it's somewhat true that it's one of your top teaching tools, but I'm not going to have that as top of my list. Also, I'm talking about physical objects for today. A few of you have guessed it, though. This iPad. That's the first one. The reason I wanted to talk about this first is not because it is my most essential teaching tool. I don't have a most essential teaching tool apart from a piano or a digital piano. I don't need anything else. None of us really do. iPads are nice to have, but I like my little objects almost as much as my iPad. But it does do a lot of great work. Now, the reason I wanted to mention it first, though, was I get a lot of questions about what type of iPad to buy. So I know people love iPad Pros, and if you have one, everyone's jealous of you. You have the best tool. It is awesome. The largest iPad Pro is definitely fantastic. And it's really fantastic if you are, like Brock, I think you might even have one, performing a lot. And you're using your iPad as your sheet music. Because a large iPad Pro, if you're not familiar, it is the size of a standard sheet, like music book. So it's great for reading. It's a comfortable size. It's going to be nice and big for you and all of that stuff. However, I didn't need an iPad Pro. When I purchased this last iPad, so that's this one here, and I only got this 2 years ago, okay? So I had an iPad before that was an iPad Air. Still works. I use it as a second one when I have in-person lessons and labs and stuff. That's my secondary iPad. My main one, though, I purchased it a couple of years ago, and when I made that decision, I looked at the iPad Pro, and I wanted to convince myself that I needed it. That's the truth. I wanted to buy it. But I looked at it with the comparison with what this is, which is a 2018 iPad. It's now just the standard one. It's not an iPad Air or an iPad anything else. It's just iPad. And people normally refer to it as the 2018 iPad. So when I compared that with an iPad Pro, basically the difference was a super duper fancy screen resolution. Or, in the 2018 one, a really fantastic screen resolution. So the question for me was, do I want to pay that much extra for the better screen resolution if I'm not getting the larger size, which I wasn't? And it's a lot extra. It was almost double the price at the time. So I went, come on. You cannot justify that. That's not happening. So I bought a regular one. I love it. It performs great. I don't care that I don't have the fanciest screen. And this one is compatible with an Apple Pencil as well, which I do have, although I don't use it that much. So I would say if you're getting an iPad, don't get the pencil right away unless you're sure you're going to use it. If you're notating a lot of scores, if you're marking things up a lot, then great. But if you're not, I would save that and then buy it if you find yourself wanting it, rather than buying it straight away. But, Laurie, I got ahead of your question there. Awesome. The model is just iPad. That's it. It's normally called 2018 iPad. So, that's all people call it. I'm just going to put that in the chat. That's it. That's all people call it. 2018 iPad will get you the right result, but that doesn't have to be the one you buy. Basically, I just bought the basic iPad, not the Pro. Okay? Now, my favorite thing attached to my iPad, I need to lean back a bit, is this guy. And this I did splurge on a bit. So, this is a Bluetooth keyboard. It's actually just a keyboard, but it makes it into a miniature little laptop. Okay? And I love this. This is called, what's it called? Oh my gosh. I've forgotten the name of it. Let me double check it. But it is, it's my favorite thing ever. Bridge with a Y. Okay, so the Bridge keyboard, if you're interested in that, it is awesome. Now, the reason I love it is I don't take a laptop anymore when I travel, and I do travel to conferences and stuff like that, and I still need to be able to do my online work for you guys, to check in with the membership, to answer questions, do stuff like that while I'm traveling. And I don't take a laptop with that for that anymore. I just take this, and it's like a mini laptop. It's so much lighter, so much less to carry around, and like when we travel, we walk ridiculous lengths, me and my husband. So I like this for how portable it is, and I don't mind the smaller keys. The keys are slightly smaller than standard, and I love it. That's why I love it so much. But it is a bit pricey. It's about 100 quid, I think. But it works great, and the iPad just slips into those at the back. The thing that it will not do is protect your iPad. So if you're looking to get a case that is for students to hold on to the iPad, that's not what you want. I have a more sturdy case for my second iPad because I give that to students a lot. So it depends what you're after, but I do love the Bridge. Yeah, it's awesome. The benefit of that over one of these, which is just a Magic Keyboard like you'd have with a Mac. This is just with my Mac. That will still connect to an iPad, and I have used an old one with my iPad actually, but that's loose, right? Whereas that is attached, and it just works great. I've had it since I got that iPad a couple of years ago, and it has been fantastic. Okay, next tool. All the other ones are way cheaper than an iPad. Okay, so the next one, I'm sorry to call you a tool, Alan. This is Alan. If you haven't met him yet, this is where I keep my Silliness Siesta cards for my youngest students. And the Silliness Siesta cards are little cards that have quick brain breaks on them. Members can find them inside the library. And I love keeping them in the coconut because I just think it's even more fun and sillier. And yeah, I love having Alan, my coconut, named by one of my students who's now 13 and would not name a coconut for me. She might, but she would roll her eyes at me a lot more. She named Alan quite a few years ago now. But I love having him on hand with my fantastic Silliness Siesta cards. The other cards that I always have on hand are regular cards. This and a few dice are great for randomizing anything. Anything can be made more fun if you just make it more random. fantastic secret tip for you from someone who creates games all the time. A lot of the fun of games is the fact that they're random. Yes, there are little designs and tips, tricks to them and booby traps and all of that. That's all great. But really, you need randomization. And sometimes if you need a student to practice bars of a piece, sections of a piece, or practice a certain number of times, or practice in a certain different ways, just randomizing things works a treat. Next basic tool, Post-its. I'm sure you all have Post-its around already. I should call them sticky notes, right? And stick to the unbranded version. But anyway, these are officially sticky notes. They're stick-y, spelled very awkwardly. But anyway, the reason I wanted to show you these is they're tiny, and they're actually the size of a bar or a measure in a lot of beginner music, so they can cover up a measure of music, and that's really handy because it provides a great stopping point or a blank spot when they're practicing, all of that kind of stuff. I don't know where you can get a coconut Lee. Alan is one of a kind. He's definitely not one of a kind, but he was a gift from a friend who went somewhere, I believe. I think he was visiting the Philippines. Yeah, it says Phil on it, so I'm gonna guess that's right. He is from, or his wife is from Taiwan, and they made a few stops along the way, or like on one of their trips. So I think it was the Philippines where they got the coconut, but yeah, it was just a gift. J, there are several ways to use playing cards in the practice kit, so I would look that up because that will give you a few tips on using cards, but great idea for a blog post for sure for the future. Next one. Several of you mentioned Steve. Steve's not here today, but I do have these guys. Ta-da! Okay, so that's hard to do while staying in shot. These are Beanie Babies. Every time I bring them out for the first time with a student, they say, Beanie Boos! And I say, they are not Beanie Boos. These are Beanie Babies, with my mock anger voice. Because these are from my childhood. These were the big craze when I was a kid. And the more recent craze by the same company is exactly the same thing, but with gigantic eyes. Beanie Boos have such creepy faces. I do not like them. Sorry for any fans out there. But I love my Beanie Babies, and I had a whole collection when I was 8 or 9 or something, and I kept them. They were in my parents' attic. I found them. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to bring these into the studio. So I rotate these out because I have so many. I have a few all the time in my studio, but this was one of my favorites growing up, and that's why he is quite worn. If you were in person, he would be a little bit scuffy. He's not dirty or anything, but he's a bit worn. And then I have the miniature ones. These come in really handy as well. These, at the time when Beanie Babies were a craze, these came with McDonald's Happy Meals. That's how I have these. And one of my friends had a mother who used to convince, she's good like this, she's always getting free stuff, you know, she's one of those. And she used to, when they went to get Happy Meals, we almost never went to McDonald's. But when she took my friend, she would always convince them to give her 2 of the toys because she's a bit of a blagger, and that's how I have so many of them. It's actually not because I spent time at McDonald's, it's because she used to get doubles and gift 1 to me because I was that lucky. Okay, Claire says she loved Beanie Boos. Okay, no offense, I'm so used to Beanie Babies' faces, and I find the new faces super creepy. Sorry. Okay. Does it? People say my voice sounds American anyway sometimes. Carrie. She said my mock angry voice sounds very American. People say that about my voice in general. People from outside of Dublin who don't realise that people from Dublin sound like this. Anyway, moving on. More fuzzies. I have some finger puppets. These particular ones are from IKEA. I'm going to put on the creepiest one, since we're talking about creepy things. The rat. Sorry, I can't get the camera to focus on him properly. Hoping to upgrade this camera soon, by the way. But yeah, the rat is or is he mouse? I don't know, but his bloodshot eyes are a bit much. Anyway, I'll swap them out for a turtle. These are from IKEA. They came in a big pack. They're great for stuff like with beginners. I get them to touch all the notes with the hand that's going to play them. So when they're getting mixed up, or I'm just thinking I need to preempt, especially preschoolers, right and left being down and up. One on each hand, and they just need to tap the notes with the right animal, and that works great. It just brings the whole thing to life. Laurie said no clowns, please. No clowns involved. There's no clowns coming up. Don't worry, okay? Right. Hurtling on through. I have lots of stuff on my desk here. Next thing is pencils. Told you all these were cheap. But the reason I wanted to mention these pencils is they're erasable pencils. So they're colouring pencils that are erasable, which is great for students marking intervals, note names, all that stuff, and then you can clean it off later, or at least if they make a mistake also, they can rub it out, because some kids get upset when they make a mistake and then they can't fix it, and you're like, I don't care, cross it out, colour over it in the new colour, but they get upset. So it's great to have the erasable option for kiddos like that. The next thing on my table of wonderness is a giant die. I already showed you regular sized ones, but the foam ones are really fun for my floor staff, and also just for making anything more fun, more active. So sometimes teachers ask me, okay, well, I love your games for off-bench time, but sometimes they don't accomplish the off-benchness, because what I need the off-bench time for sometimes is movement. They need to get their kiddos moving. Just swap your regular die out for a giant die. And then they roll it across the room and they run to get it every single time. And they love it, and they get the wiggles out while playing the theory game and learning about the theory. So that's a quick and easy swap. Ellen, yeah, it doesn't have to be, she said, my teenage students still have a hard time with right and left. Yeah, I wasn't saying it's preschooler specific. I was more saying that it would be a troubleshooting tip for older students, whereas it would be a standard part of introducing the grand staff to a young student. Okay, keep them going. So, in my box here, I'm not going to go into these in too much detail because everyone knows these guys, right? Owako erasers. Owako erasers are awesome because they fit on the keys and they're great for playing games with, and they're the perfect size for VMT games, and they have such cuteness that it is ridiculous. What you need to do though, if you're using Owako erasers in your studio for games or anything else, top tip, make a rule straight away that you introduce to all new students that if they're going to use them, they are not allowed to pull them apart. Owako erasers are puzzle erasers, okay? So they come apart like this. But when you pull them apart, they lose bits, as any parent will know with any small toys at all, right? So, Owako. Let me type that in for you, Claire. Owako. I might be mispronouncing that. Oh, Anne got there first, so Anne, thank you for that. So, you can use any small erasers. These ones are just super popular because of their particular size and their adorableness. Don't let kids pull them apart because they will lose parts of them. So warn them that straight away and tell them, if I see you taking them apart, we're going to swap that out. We're going to use a regular game counter, okay? You only get to use them if you don't take them apart. And you can even have one on purpose. This is not on purpose, but you can do this on purpose. You can have one who has lost their face. You can't see how creepy this looks, but she has no eyes or nose. And that's because someone took her apart and we lost a bit. So she's a good warning tale. Okay, with 3 things left, I think. Oh, well, I will show you these as well. These are other erasers. These ones are even tinier. These are flat, and therefore they're great for sitting on the keys. I don't have a good link for these. The brand is NPW if you want to look them up, but basically just be on the hunt for tiny erasers that are flat, because I just picked these up in a random stationery shop in Canada. I think it was, it was in Toronto. So if you're in Toronto and happen across them, buy them. They're great. But the point of those is just that they sit flat on the keys, and therefore you can see what you're doing and easily move them around. Last thing on my desk, and then I have 2 rhythm things. Stickers. We all love stickers, right? These are just regular stickers. I love Paper Chase. If you're in the UK, they have great options for you. Really great stickers. Tend to look quite trendy and fun and bright, which I love. But I wanted to mention stickers not because I think it's a new idea to you. Because I know people know that piano teachers tend to love stickers. Teachers in general tend to love stickers. But because of 2 specific types of stickers that I extra love. So one is, if you see any tiny collections, pick them up. Because you can get really creative and use them as reminders for your students on their music. These are, I think they're from that same random Toronto stationery shop. No, a different one, because they're Japanese. Anyway, you can see I like stationery shops on my holidays. I just enjoy it. It's just fun to me. Anyway, they have tiny little boots, tiny little first aid kit, stuff like that. So you can improvise with them and put them on as reminders on your students' music. For example, there's a spool of thread here. So I would use that at a bar line where my students are pausing and encourage them to stitch the 2 together in their practice. Stuff like that. The last set of stickers I wanted to show you are just because they're my favorite, and because I think it's kind of fun to have ones that you reserve as extra special almost, so that you can bring them out and make a really big deal about them. So if you generally use stickers with all your young students when they pass off a piece and stuff like that, having ones that they know are a really big deal is fun. And for that I have these, because these are, as I tell students when I bring them out, my favorite things. 1, there's adorable animals on them. 2, they sparkle. They have sparkly bits. 3, the best part, they're all puns. So we have roaring good job, cool, and it's a penguin. Berry, good job, and it's a bear. Snappy effort with a crab. Turtley awesome. Right, so I saved these for special occasions. There's only a few missing from each sheet because I love them so much and I just hang on to them. And I got these in San Francisco, so there you go. All my stickers are from travels for some reason. Last 2 tools are for rhythm. I mentioned these when we talked about rhythm on a recent show. These are my rhythm vocab cards. If there's one tool from Vibrant Music Teaching that you should download and just keep beside your piano at all times, in my opinion, it's rhythm vocab cards. This is level 3 or 4, but level 1 at least, keeping them beside your piano so that you can do lots and lots of quick and easy rhythm review with your students. And the reason they're great is each card has 1 bar of rhythm, and you can just mix and match, make a 4-bar rhythm and work with it. And it's random every time, and you can pick and choose which ones you include and which ones you don't. And then second rhythm thing is relative rhythms. These are also in the library. These ones are sized according relatively. So a crotchet is a quarter of the size of a semi-breve card. Okay, so they're sized relative to their length, their duration. And that would be my second tip. But I use rhythm vocab cards even more often than those, actually. That would vary from teacher to teacher, I'd say. Jay, thank you. He said, rhythm vocab is totally awesome. Yes. Awesome. Ginny said, I missed the name of your favorite stickers. I didn't say a name. I don't have it. I only have the sheets. So I've got nothing for you. Sorry. It was from a big stationery art shop in San Francisco. That's all I've got for you. Sorry. Oh, but if you're talking about the general favorite place to get stickers, if you're in the UK or Ireland, that would be Paper Chase. Up the top there, Paper Chase. but I don't think they're in the US. So, you know, you build up your favorite spots, but dollar stores are great. Doesn't have to be expensive or fancy. Just add a little bit of spice and a little bit of fun. That's what they're all about. I haven't reminded you to give me suggestions for topics for next week. I was so distracted by all my wonderful tools. Oh, I have one wonderful tool left to share. So while I share that, if you can multitask, share your ideas for topics that you want me to talk about in future shows. I'm super curious to hear what you want us to go into. We're going to be coming up on every Wednesday from now on. So if you're joining us then, which I hope you can, 3 p.m. Dublin time every Wednesday, let me know what you want us to cover. The last tool I had on my desk, though, is boring and not exciting at all, but it's very important. A watch. I like to have a watch on when I'm teaching, and I actually don't wear a watch most of the time. I wear a fitness tracker, but I don't wear a regular watch, which, because I'm a weirdo, goes on my right hand, even though I am right-handed. It's just always been that way. But a watch is the most essential tool, actually. If we were starting from basics, it would be piano, watch. Because you have to stay on time with your lessons and what you plan and what you do. Running overtime means you're cutting into your personal time or the next student, and you end up running over and over all day. Or your break. And even if you're not bothered by any of that, it actually doesn't benefit your students. You feel like you're giving them extra free time, but then they just become less efficient, and so do you, with the lesson time that you have available. And it means that you're not as focused during the lesson time. If you're like, oh, well, I'll get to it, whatever, you know. If you use every minute of your lesson effectively, you end up planning better and becoming a better teacher. I really believe that. And a better communicator. Yeah? Okay. Sorry to end on a less fun note, but I think it was important to mention that because that is the most basic tool that I have. And it is absolutely super important. Hit the like button if you agree with me. Do you wear a watch in your lessons? Do you have a clock maybe up on the wall if you hate wearing a watch? Or do you use your phone? I don't love using the phone just because I feel like to students it looks like you're checking messages. It just does. Even if they know you're kind of checking the clock, it still has that connotation. So I like a watch or a clock. Let me know what you like. Charlotte, you wear a watch on the right arm too. Are you right-handed as well? People often think that's very bizarre. Generally, it's me and the friend I mentioned earlier. This woman's daughter also does the same thing as me, but most people tend to do it the other way around, right? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this exploration of tools today. If you are not a member and you want to sign up to VMT, Vibrant Music Teaching, we have wonderful tools inside, but that coupon code is only available to get your 1 week trial for $1, only available for another couple of hours, basically. It's going away today. So jump on it if you're watching live and you're not a member and you've been thinking about signing up. It's a great deal and we don't normally offer stuff like that. If you want to join me on the next one of these chats, I would be delighted to have you back. And we're going to be exploring lots of fun topics every week during the summer. So Wednesdays at 3 p.m. my time, that's Dublin. So that's 10 a.m. in New York, 10 p.m. in Perth. And I hope you can join me then. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're here so that you come back. And I'm not all here on my own, sitting in my brightly colourful room, but, you know, all lonely and stuff. That wouldn't be nice. I mean, I'd have these guys. Honestly, we could hang out all day. But still, I want you to come back. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you come back and see these YouTube videos as they're live, because it is a lot of fun when you're here live. And there was one more thing I wanted to say, and I've forgotten it. Oh yes, if you have your topics that you want me to discuss and you haven't added them yet to the chat, please do so. You can add them in the comments below as well. I will check that before I set the topic for our next chat, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Bye for now, guys.